What is going on, guys? It is Wrestlelamia here, back with another video. Following the incredible events of last week, including Becky Lynch vacating the Raw Women's Championship and Seth Rollins inflicting a brutal eye injury on Rey Mysterio, you can be sure the WWE wants to make this week's Raw even more eventful. But did they do the job? Well, join us now as Wrestlelamia analyzes Raw and looks at the wildest news stories and rumors you need to know, including an utterly bonkers storyline Vince suggested, how the WWE censored Nikki Bella's memoir, why Asuka and Kairi Sane turned babyface, Owen Hart has merchandise now available after 20 years, and much more. Be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell for daily wrestling videos. As always, we won't waste your time recapping the matches, but we will look at the good, the bad, and the downright ugly from last night's show. As always, we start off with the good, as number 1, Edge talks fans into the building. Edge's promo was reminiscent of the territory days when the only game in town was live events and promoters relied on wrestlers' various promos to persuade fans to buy tickets to a live show. Some wrestlers were so talented at this, they were renowned for their ability to talk fans into the building. Such was the case with Edge's promo on Randy Orton, as he tore Orton's selfishness down, calling the Viper out for his sense of entitlement and the locker room's disdain for Orton. That promo sounded so real. We're not taking anything away from Orton, as he's given so much to the wrestling business, but it really came off as Edge being more grateful for his accolades in professional wrestling than Orton. Edge even talked about crying after he won the Intercontinental Championship. Do you think Randy Orton did the same? No, he probably just saw it as another belt. Number 2, Righteous returns. Last night's Raw featured 2 well-orchestrated returns, beginning with the Kevin Owens show, then the surprise return of Apollo Crews. Crews looked better than ever, and with any luck, he might enjoy a push, especially if the WWE has him working alongside KO to get the rub. Last night's show used KO's return to help get Crews over and bring both men back into the spotlight. Number 3, Charlie Caruso's career climb. It's been some time since fans have seen a WWE backstage announcer who doesn't dominate interviews, but who also doesn't serve a purpose other than to hold a microphone. Charlie Caruso has slowly become a good interviewer who uses facial expressions to help supplement interviews and get wrestlers' promos over. The fact that she's easy on the eyes doesn't hurt, but good-looking interviewers, male or female, are a dime a dozen. And Caruso's talent is in her subtle mannerisms. She's quickly becoming a key player as a part of the broadcast team. Number 4, Champion vs. Champion. The WWE did a good job building up the Champion vs. Champion match on SmackDown last week, giving fans a recap of what really happened last Friday and hyping what should be a fantastic match. Even better, the WWE furthered the storyline of growing tension between Sasha Banks and Bayley. WWE needs to subtly keep their feud going until SummerSlam. That's when the big payoff will happen. Number 5, one door closes and another one opens. The rumor had it that Austin Theory would have been gone from Zelina Vega's heel faction, and while that happened last night, it looks like the very talented Austin Theory will be sticking around on Raw. Many people thought he'd be demoted back to NXT. Last night saw the Monday Night Messiah Seth Rollins bring Theory into the fold after Theory's breakdown by Andrade and Angel Garza. Rollins is in desperate need of at least one more flunky, and Theory is too talented to get sent back to NXT after showing so much promise on Raw. Number 6, Asuka is looking dominant. Now, even though Asuka has won many accolades in WWE, in fact, she's pretty much won it all, including the Royal Rumble, Money in the Bank, the NXT Women's Championship, the WWE Women's Tag Team Championship, and both Raw and SmackDown titles. However, this time, it seems that she's getting better booking. Why WWE ever broke her streak at WrestleMania is something that we're still not sure on, but they're already making up for it, as Asuka's Raw title run has already become better than a SmackDown title run. And it's the little things. Liv Morgan's brief promo was a good way to remind the fans that she hasn't reached the top yet, but she's determined to win the Women's Championship, and it will happen someday. The fact Morgan got a few minutes was an example of how last night's show excelled at time management. But that was the good, what about the bad? As number 1, killing Carrillo. The WWE deserves credit for doing a thorough job of burying Humberto Carrillo, making it clear his initial push was just a way to establish him as a jobber to the stars. Humberto has lost to so many stars on the Raw division that the WWE should consider putting him on the Women's division just to expand the number of superstars he's counted the lights for. Number 2, a bad sign for the Iconics. WWE, don't you dare do this. Fans were surprised to see the return of the Iconics last week, especially after their long absence and rumours that Peyton Royce and Billie Kay might be repackaged. Now, it looks as if the WWE is going to split the talented team up, and that's certainly a bad move, not only because the Iconics provide some comedy to the tag team division, but more importantly, they provide something the division is sorely lacking in, an established team that is more than a slapdash pairing of two women. The women's division can always use more single stars, but the tag team division has an absolute drought of teams, especially now that Asuka is focusing on her Raw Women's Championship, and Fire and Desire have even split up. Who the hell's left? It's just Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross. Number 3. Recycling garbage. As bad as last week's basketball segment was between the Street Profits and the Viking Raiders it was even worse seeing it replayed this week. Okay, the segment wasn't the worst in Raw history or anything like that, but it's kind of a bit that the WWE was better off pretending never happened, not reminding fans of how poorly the Viking Raiders and Street Profits program has been booked. Comedy is great and all in wrestling, but this is just getting too wacky. Now, there was nothing downright ugly about last night's show. It was solid for the most part, save the terrible segments involving the Street Profits and the Viking Raiders, but there were strong promos, excellent matches, and every single segment at least furthered a storyline. Last night's Raw seemed like someone flipped a switch and said, let's put on the strong show from the beginning to end, building up storylines, creating new ones, and entertaining the fans with solid matches and interviews. Even better, the WWE didn't waste their fans' time with squash matches, enhancement talent showing up to waste precious time, or 20-minute matches featuring lower card stars that you know are stuck at the bottom. We'd like to know who is responsible for this show, and we hope they stick around. But that was the good, the bad, and the downright ugly of Raw. Let's now move on to the news. As our first story looks at Vince McMahon proposing a very bizarre idea for a storyline. There have been some crazy storylines in WWE, including an octogenarian giving birth to a hand, Triple H getting jiggy with a corpse, Vince McMahon vs God, and now they can probably add this one to it. It's something that thankfully never saw the light of day, but it's still crazy to even know that this was going to happen, as he pitched an idea to Goldust's wife Marlena about her wearing a prosthetic penis under her dress, and it would go unmentioned. Jim Ross discussed this on his Grillin' JR podcast, saying, Goldust was created to be polarizing, and when we put, and it's even going to be more so, Vince was all in this. The Attitude Era coming along with the sexual characters, this androgynous guy. Was he really androgynous? Was he gay? Was he straight? Was he bisexual? We had no idea. But it was a very unique presentation to the point, and I told this to Terry Runnels one time, and she was appalled, probably appalled at me. I'm not sure, but Vince had an idea to give her a prosthetic penis to wear under her attire, something that was never to be talked about. Nobody said anything, it was never focused on, it was just there. Luckily cooler heads prevailed, and that never made air and it never happened. She wasn't aware of it. There was a thought at one time about really going, well, we're gonna go all the way. Let's go all the way. No, let's don't. If we go all the way, we're gonna step off a cliff here. I don't want to fall off a cliff. We don't need to be falling off cliffs here. Let's get close to the edge, but not quite step over it. I'm not sure how the hell you would have gotten away with that one by not going over the edge. Now, even though it'd go unmentioned, who the hell wouldn't notice that on television? Thankfully, this storyline never saw the light of day. Next up, why Asuka and Kairi Sane turned babyface. While some fans may be wondering why Asuka and her tag team partner Kairi Sane turned babyface, it's been clear over the last few weeks that the Kabuki Warriors have been getting over with the WWE Universe, at least that's based on comments made via social media. And there's another reason though, according to Diamond Dave Meltzer, who spoke about this on the Wrestling Observer Radio. I asked about the turn, and I was told that Asuka and Sane turn was not something in the plans, but it was necessary because they want a babyface champion right now, with names like Shayna Baszler and Nia Jax in line for title matches in the coming months. Raw could use a top babyface, and while it should prove interesting to see how the WWE books Asuka as their top babyface, will she keep the Raw Women's Championship, or lose it and begin chasing the new champion? Next up, WWE Censors the Bella's memoir. Nikki and Brie Bella's co-memoir Incomparable includes some very personal revelations, but apparently there were some things that John Cena and the WWE didn't want left in. Nikki recently talked about her former fiancé Cena, and the WWE had editorial rights to the book, which led to some things being either censored or removed. Appearing on Sunday night's Main Event podcast, Nikki noted how the edits affected her and the book's content.
You know, it definitely, writing it, did that stuff cross my mind? It did. And there was never anything bad I wanted to say about John. John and I had a beautiful relationship. Did we have struggles? Yes. Will anyone ever know about them? No. But overall, we did have such a beautiful relationship.
Although Nikki understood where the WWE was coming from in wanting to manage the content, she pointed out,
I just wish I was able to talk more about why I ended up where I ended up. I still feel like people always will wonder that, and I think it's because we put our relationship out there on reality TV for 5-6 years. And so I wanted to tell that story, but yeah, so.
It's difficult to imagine writing a book with the WWE, not to mention your ex-fiancé having editorial input, but this is yet another reminder of the incredible control the WWE wields over its superstars' lives. And finally, Owen Hart merchandise now available. Owen Hart's widow Martha Hart has decided to authorize merchandise featuring her late husband, something that hasn't been done in the last 20 years. A recent tweet from Ryan Barkin of Pro Wrestling Tees announced, "Excited to announce that we signed a deal with both Martha Hart and Vice to bring you a brand new Owen Hart shirts along with the first Dark Side of the Ring shirt. All profits from Owen's tees will be donated to the Owen Hart Foundation. Owen Hart fans will no doubt be happy to get their hands on the first Owen Hart merchandise in 20 years. But there you have it guys, the good, the bad and the ugly from the 18th May edition of Raw, as well as the wildest news stories and rumours you need to know. Be sure to leave your comments down below, subscribe if you haven't already, follow us on Instagram and Twitter, and I'll see you next time with some more wrestling content.